My beloved child, come a little closer, for I want to speak to you with a tenderness that only those who belong to me can truly feel. You may think you paused before my words by coincidence at this moment, but it is I who guided your steps here. Since ancient times, I have called your name among countless souls on the earth, and today I want you to step into a sacred stillness, a place where only you and I remain. Do not be afraid that you are not good enough to hear me, for I do not seek perfection. I seek a heart that is willing to listen. Sit down, let your breathing slow, and open your heart the way a child returns to their father after a day full of turbulence. My child, there are moments in life when you feel the need to brace yourself and appear strong, but I know the exhaustion hiding behind forced smiles. I hear the sighs you never say aloud. I see you trying to stand firm against pressures from outside and storms from within. But listen closely, I have never asked you to carry everything on your own. You were never meant to hold up the whole world. You were not created to manage life by yourself, because I never intended to leave your side, not even for a moment. Even when you think I am silent, I am still working in the deep places the human eye cannot see. I know you often ask, why is this happening? Why is everything so difficult? Why do others seem to walk smoothly, while I must climb so many hills? You are not wrong to ask these questions. I do not dismiss your confusion. I am not saddened by the moments you feel too tired to continue. But my child, everything you have walked through has a purpose. Not one tear falls without my notice. Not one day of endurance escapes my attention. Not one storm passes without my full awareness. What you thought would break you, I am using to build a strength within you, a strength you have not yet realized you could possess. Just as Job once cried out, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you," you too are on such a journey. Many times you have only heard about my faithfulness, but it is in the seasons where you have no one left to lean on that you begin to feel my hand truly upholding you. In the days when others turn their backs, you sense my nearness more deeply than ever before. When every door seems closed, you eventually discover that I am not pulling you backward, but leading you into another path, a steadier, richer, and more fitting way for your life. You often think you are falling behind, but in truth you are being taught how to stand firm. A seed cannot sprout unless it is buried. It must pass through darkness before seeing the light. It must withstand the pressure of the soil before breaking through. You are not being buried. You are being planted. I am not pushing you aside. I am preparing you for what you were not yet strong enough to carry yesterday. My preparation may look like a delay in human eyes, but in my eyes it is protection. You ask me why you feel overwhelmed. You ask why joy feels fragile at times while sorrow feels heavy as stone. You ask why prayers seem unanswered and why your path winds through so many turns. My child, you have never been forgotten. You have never been lost in the crowd. You have never been insignificant to me. Every breath you take rests in my palm. Every detail of your life is seen from beginning to end. I know when you are strong, and I know even more clearly when you are weak. What you interpret as failure is often the very moment I am working most powerfully within you. Do you remember Jonah? People thought he was running away, but inside the belly of the fish in the darkest place, the place that looked like the end, he finally saw redemption. Do you remember Job? People thought he lost everything, yet at his lowest point he discovered my greatness. Do you remember Joseph, who was sold away? Others saw tragedy, but I saw the road that would lead him to the place I had appointed. In the same way, you are not stuck. You are simply in a chapter that human eyes cannot understand, but my heart understands completely. I want you to hear this and keep it within you. I do not write your life with careless strokes. I do not sketch your future with fading lines. I am writing your story with intention, with wisdom beyond understanding, with a vision complete from beginning to end. What you see is only a small piece, but I see the entire picture. Do not struggle to make sense of everything. Just give me a trusting heart. My part is to lead you to the place you were created to stand. But to step into what I have prepared, you need something essential: inner quietness. Not the silence of lips, but the stillness of the soul. When your heart is filled with the noise of worry, of self-blame, of fear, of unanswered questions, it becomes difficult to hear my voice. I have never shouted at you. I speak through whispers. I do not push you. I invite you. I do not pull you by force. I guide you gently, step by step. You do not need to prove yourself to me. You do not need to strain to earn my love. You do not need to accomplish great things to catch my attention. Right now, I am looking at you with a love that nothing can compare to. I do not love you when you become better. I love you now in the version of yourself you sometimes struggle to accept. I love you even when you do not love yourself. And because of that love, I want to lead you deeper, deeper into healing, deeper into understanding, deeper into the freedom I intended for you from the very beginning. Let me say this as if placing the first stone of a new journey. You were not created to drag yourself through life carrying a burden no one sees. You were created to be free. You were created to be present. You were created to reveal my glory through your life. But that does not begin with success nor with what you can achieve. It begins with allowing me to enter every corner of your thoughts. That is where true transformation begins. My child, come closer into the stillness I have prepared for you today. Do not worry that your mind feels tangled or that your heart does not seem ready, for I do not require you to come to me in perfection. I only ask that you be present. Lay down the things that have made your soul so tired, and let this moment be a space reserved for you and me alone. No noise of pressure, no words from people, crowding in only gentle breaths and the covering presence of your Creator surrounding you. I have called you here because I want to speak to you about things you have avoided facing for far too long, and at the same time, I want to place into your hands the very things you have always longed for, but never knew how to name. I have seen your life collide with many things that are hard to understand. There are days when you still smile on the outside while inside you are covered in cracks no one knows about. You try to be stronger than you need to be, as if the moment you stop holding everything together, the whole world around you will collapse. But my child, I never created you to carry the whole world on your shoulders. I never intended for you to struggle alone through your darkest moments. Long before you knew how to name your emotions, my eyes were already watching every step you took. There were seasons when you thought I was standing far away, but it was in those very days that I was closest to you, even though you did not recognize me. Just as I drew near to Elijah when he ran into the wilderness exhausted to the point of wanting everything to end, I am drawing near to you in the very exhaustion you have kept hidden. You have asked me why trials seem to come one after another, as if you never get a chance to rest. You have blamed yourself for feeling weak, and then blamed me for what you thought was my silence. But, my child, I have never been indifferent to your tears. There is not a single sigh of yours that I do not hear. When you feel completely drained, I do not pull my hand away. I place it even more firmly on your shoulder. When you lose your sense of direction, I do not abandon you to the chaos. I am gently guiding you back to the path I prepared for you long ago. There are seasons when you feel as though you are moving backward, but in reality, that is when I am laying foundations for you. A tree cannot stand firm in the storm if its roots are not planted deep enough. In the same way, you are being led deeper, not so that you will be buried, but so that you can stand stronger when I lift you up. A seed must pass through the darkness of the soil before it can break open and sprout. My seeming silence, in the days when you cannot hear, my voice is not abandonment. It is my invitation for you to enter into a process of growth you never knew you needed. Do not judge your life only by what your eyes can see right now. I do not write your story in disconnected fragments. I write it as a whole woven across the full span of time that I see completely. What you call a failure I often see as a turning point. What you call loss I see as placement. What you call a dead end in my eyes is the beginning of a new path. My wisdom is far beyond the measurements you are used to. I do not work according to quick human conclusions. I work according to purpose. Do you remember Joseph? Others gave him betrayal, but I used that very betrayal to bring him into his destiny. Do you remember Moses? He thought his life was over in the wilderness, but it was there that I prepared him for a deliverance that would shake history. Do you remember David? A forgotten shepherd boy among his brothers, yet in him I saw a heart I could use to lead my people. In the same way, I am still using things that seem to have no benefit at all to bring forth what no one could have anticipated in your life. Delay in human eyes is not the same as delay in mine. I do not move according to society's pace. I do not work by the clock of mankind. I move according to the right time. You think you are falling behind, but I see you being protected. You think you are stuck, but I am holding you back from things that are not yet safe for you to touch. You think others are moving faster, but I am building within you something they do not have depth, and depth always requires time. Today I want you to lay down one thing: the need to prove yourself. You have carried it for too long. You have believed you must perform well, achieve something, show visible progress, so that others can be reassured and so that you yourself can feel worthy. But remember this: I called you by name before you had any accomplishments. I chose you before you ever knew how to choose me. My love for you is not founded on what you achieve, but on the simple truth that you belong to me. No mistake of yours is strong enough to make me change my mind. No failure can drive me away. No distance can keep me from seeking you. You have lived a long time feeling that you must be stronger than your capacity, that you must stay silent in places where you actually needed comfort, that you must endure battles you were never meant to fight alone. But my child, it is time to put those burdens down. I did not create you to carry what does not belong to you. I did not form you to be chained by fear, shame, or unspoken pains. Come near to me, just as you are. No decoration, no disguise. I already know everything you have gone through. I know the memories that hurt so much you are afraid to touch them. I know the thoughts you would never dare to say to anyone. And still I want you. I still call you. I still open my arms to you. Child, do not fear the process of healing. I have not come to condemn. I have come to restore. I have not come to rip open old wounds. I have come to cleanse them and bring new life into your soul. I want you to face the parts of yourself you have avoided for so long, because only when you bring them before me can I transform them. Those wounds do not make me withdraw from you. They draw me closer. I am the one who heals with gentleness. I do not crush your fragile heart. I hold it in my hands and breathe life into it. What I desire from you now is simply openness. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to know the whole future. You only need to let me go deeper into the places you once locked away. Let me walk with you into the worries you cannot put into words. Let me touch the parts of you that you think are ruined. Let me shine light into the hidden corners of your heart. When you allow me to enter there, you will find you no longer have to tremble alone. I am placing a new chapter before you now, a chapter not built on fear but on trust, not built on solitary effort but on companionship with me. I invite you to step into this chapter with all your honesty, without suppressing yourself, without straining to appear strong, without pretending you are fine. You only need to take my hand. From here on, I will lead you step by step, breath by breath, day by day. You are not alone at any moment. My child, step into the stillness I am opening for you right now. You do not need to arrange your words or prepare your mind perfectly to come before me. Your presence is enough. I have called you, and your feet have responded to that call, not by coincidence, but by the gentle leading I have been whispering into your heart all along. Sit down and rest as if you were placing your whole soul into my hands, and let this moment become the time when you can finally exhale the things you have kept hidden for so long. I know the road you have traveled has not been easy. There were days when you tried to put on a smile while inside there was an emptiness no one could see. There were nights you lay awake with a heart heavy from things you cannot control. There were mornings you woke up feeling as if you had never truly rested. I see all of it. There is no movement in your heart that I do not feel. There is no anxious thought that escapes my notice. My child, you once thought I was standing far away, but it is in the moments you feel most lost that my hand rests closest upon you. Just as Hagar fled into the wilderness, believing no one saw her suffering, yet still heard me call her name in the burning desert, so it is with you. You are never invisible in my eyes. Even when you try to hide your shame, I see you, and I hold you with a love that never changes. You have lived for many years under the pressure of being stronger than your heart could handle. You feared that if you slowed down, if you opened up, if you revealed your weakness, people would no longer see you the same way. So you kept pushing yourself, suppressing your pain, stepping into battles I never asked you to fight. Sometimes you mistook it for responsibility. But today I tell you that burden did not come from me. I did not place upon you the weight of being perfect. I do not require you to be strong at all times. I do not expect you to have every answer. I only desire your honesty before me. You may be confused, I still receive you. You may feel weak, I still extend my arms to you. You may feel frustrated, I still hear your voice. I do not love you for your strength. I love you because you belong to me. What you call delay is sometimes my protection. You think you are progressing slowly, but I am shielding you from storms you cannot yet see. You think you are standing still, but I am laying a new foundation deep within you. Like a structure that must be dug down before it can be built high, I am digging into the soil of your heart so that what I construct in you will withstand anything you face. There are times when my silence is not distance but invitation, an invitation to learn how to recognize me in the gentlest signals. Just as Elijah heard my voice not in the great wind, nor the earthquake, nor the fire, but in a gentle whisper, you too are being taught to recognize my presence in the small things you once overlooked. For only when you can hear me in the quiet will you be able to hear me in the storm. You once believed you needed to know the entire plan before you could trust me. But my child, if you knew everything beforehand, your faith would no longer be faith. I lead you step by step, not with a full map laid out. I want you to learn how to place your hand in mine. Each step you take with me becomes steady, even when you cannot see the end. You ask me why others advance more quickly. You ask why they receive what you have waited so long for. You ask why your path feels winding and unpredictable. But my child, I have never written two stories the same. I did not create you to be a copy of anyone else. I am crafting something in your life that is utterly unique, something that does not need human validation, something only you are meant to carry. When Joseph was thrown into the pit, others saw failure. I saw the road to the palace. When Moses stood in the wilderness, people thought his story was over. I saw the beginning of a deliverance that would shake generations. When David was left behind in the fields, his family saw insignificance. I saw a king. And just like them, your current circumstances do not define what I am accomplishing in your life. What you see as wasted seasons, I see as seeds. What you call brokenness, I see as the raw material for something new. I never discard a single detail of your story. No season is meaningless. No step is unnecessary. Everything is being arranged with absolute precision, like a potter shaping clay into a vessel of great worth. Today, I want you to release the expectation that you must solve everything on your own. You are not the savior of your own life. You only need to do one thing: let me lead you. When you take your eyes off the things that terrify you and turn them toward me, you will discover a peace you could never manufacture on your own. When you allow me into the worries you fear touching you, will see those worries lose their grip on you. It is time for you to exhale the things you have been holding inside. It is time to shed the armor you thought was protection. It is time to admit that you are tired, and I do not blame you for it. I invite you to lean on me, not with shame, but with trust. I was here long before you called my name. I am here even when you are silent. And I will remain here no matter how many times you lose your way. Let me begin again with your heart. Let me wash away the dust of the heavy years. Let me touch the places you have never allowed anyone to enter. I will not wound you. I have come to make you live. I will not force you. I have come to lift you. I am not like anyone you have ever known. My love does not shift with circumstances. It stands firm like a mountain, bright as the dawn, deep as the vast sea. Place your heart in my hands. From here, I will lead you into things you never knew you could experience. You will not walk alone in any part of the journey. I am with you, and I will remain with you through every step ahead. My beloved, you are not defined by what has happened to you, but by what I have spoken over you. You have lived too long under the shadow of old memories, failures, and careless or cruel words spoken by others, until you began to believe they were the final truth about who you are. You look at your life through the lens of what is past, and so you see only limitations, mistakes, and the things that could have been different. But my child, I do not see you that way. When I look at you, I see not only what you have done, I see what I am shaping within you. I see not only the times you fell, I see the courage in every rising that you thought no one noticed. I see not only the tears, I see the meaning I will weave from those very tears. In my eyes, you are not the sum of your mistakes. You are someone being molded each day into my likeness, no matter how complicated your past has been. My child, you have allowed the words of judgment, comparison, cold stares, and even the just joking remarks of others to become the voice within you. Many times you no longer need anyone to tear you down because you have grown accustomed to speaking heavy words to yourself. I'm not good enough. I always ruin things. I'm a burden. Something must be wrong with me because I'm not like anyone else. You have repeated those sentences so often that they became the background of how you see your life. You begin to choose to react to build relationships, and even to pray from the posture of someone who believes they are always less than always slow, always unworthy compared to others. But my child, that is not my voice. I have never called you useless. I have never labeled you a failure. I have never declared you irredeemable. I have never said it was too late, no more chances, or too broken to restore. Those words do not come from me, even if they sound logical through the lens of the flesh. When I speak, I create. My words over your life do not suffocate, they are free. They do not extinguish, they ignite. They do not bind, they open new doors. I know every chapter of your story, including the parts you find too shameful for anyone to touch. I know the wrong choices, the moments when fear, loneliness, or hunger for love led you into places outside of my goodwill. I know the hurried turns, the relationships you clung to, even when I gently whispered for you to let go. I know the secrets you buried deep, the things you believe would change how others see you if they ever found out. You think those things make me turn away, but my child, it is precisely because I know all of it that I draw you even closer. I am not a cold judge counting every fault. I am Father Redeemer, the one who stepped into the mud of humanity to find each lost child. I do not deny sin nor ignore consequences, but I did not come to condemn you in them. I came to bring you out of them. What you need is not more self-punishment, but the courage to believe that my grace is greater than anything you have done. You have tried many times to make up for your past by doing many good works, forcing yourself to succeed, trying to produce something worthy, as if you could earn back acceptance through achievements. But my child, I do not transact with you like that. You do not pay for. My love, the price, has already been paid. You do not have to build towers or monuments to prove to me that you are different now. I have seen your inner battles all along. What I desire from you is not the mask of strong, fine, successful, mature, that you show the world, but a heart willing for me to touch and renew. You do not have to pretend to be cheerful for me to care. You may come to me with tears, with exhaustion, with questions that have no answers. I still listen. I still embrace you. I still call you by the tender name I carved into my own heart. My child, the mistakes of yesterday have no power over tomorrow unless you give it to them. The words others have spoken have no authority to define your worth unless you allow them to take root. Think back, how many opportunities have you rejected because an inner voice told you that you were not enough? How many steps did you not take because you believed you were unworthy of good things? How many healthy relationships did you withdraw from because you feared you would disappoint someone again? In those moments it was not my hand holding you back, it was the invisible chains of your own thinking. I had already opened the door, but you lingered outside because you did not believe you were welcomed inside. I do not bring up your past to shame you. I speak of it to remind you it no longer has the right to rule your life. You were never meant to live as a victim of circumstances, a victim of your family, or a victim of what happened. When I call you, I do not say, "Come here, failure." I say, "Come home, my beloved." The way I call you reveals how I see you. I see in you the capacity to rise, the capacity to change, the capacity to become new, not by sheer willpower, but by the life I am placing within you. I see you not only as who you were yesterday, but as who you are becoming with each passing day. If you cling to your old view of yourself, you will struggle to walk into what I have prepared for you. So I invite you to begin here. Learn to see yourself through my eyes. Consider this: if I, the one who knows everything about you, from your unspoken thoughts to the dreams you have never dared to share, still choose to call you loved, redeemed, chosen, then why do you hold so tightly to the names that the world or pain gave you? If I have said you are valuable enough that I gave my most precious gift to pull you out of darkness, why do you keep living as if you were just a leftover in the crowd, an afterthought in humanity's story? You are not emotional debris. You are not a container for rejection. You are not the trash bin for others' criticism. You bear my imprint. You are the one I call back when everyone else walks away. You are the one I have in mind when I weave new plans for a generation. I want you to step out of the old garment of false identity. You have worn it so long you think it is your real skin. That garment was sewn from negative words, painful memories, and the many times you compared yourself to others. It made you bow your head, close your heart, and even withdraw from me. Today I stand before you and gently extend my hand. Will you let me remove that garment from you? Will you let me call you by the new name I prepared for you long before you ever received a single wound? This is where the new journey begins. You agree to let me define you instead of letting your past failures or people define you. From here, I will teach you little by little how to live like someone who is loved, not abandoned. To think like someone who has hope, not one who expects the worst. To walk like someone who knows they have a place in my plan, not someone who arrives last and stands on the sidelines. Not everything will change overnight, but each day you choose to believe what I say about you, something inside you will shift. And I will be there, patient, unhurried, unwavering, walking with you until you truly believe you are no longer chained to the old name. You are free to live as the one I have called you to become, my child. As you begin to see yourself in this new light, I want to take you deeper into the truth of the identity I placed within you from the very beginning. You were not created merely to survive the turbulence of this world. You were created to understand the divine nature I breathed into you. All this time you have seen yourself as someone on the margins, someone lucky to be shown mercy, as if your presence on the earth were a reluctant concession of fate. You have lived like someone borrowing a space, someone needing permission just to exist. But my child, I never created you that way. I formed you with deliberate intention, with complete love, with purpose and joy. You do not exist by accident. You exist because I chose. You have often thought of yourself as the one who comes last, the one who is late, the one who is less valuable. Yet when I look at you, I do not see delay. I see a process. I do not see inferiority. I see potential. I do not see weakness. I see what I am about to strengthen within you. Remember this. I do not create anything meaningless. Everything I do has a place in my plan. And you, yes, you are an irreplaceable part of what I am doing across generations. There are moments when you feel lost in this life, like a leaf swept by the wind, carried to places you never chose. But my child, my hand has never let you go. You do not know what lies ahead, but I do. You do not see the connections between the events of your life, but I do. You do not understand why the road winds, but I know exactly why. If I showed you the entire landscape all at once, your heart would not be able to bear it. So I lead you step by step, stretch by stretch, season by season. What you think is random has been carefully ordained. What you think is chaos is moving under my watchful care. Think of Israel standing before the Red Sea. In front of them was a vast body of water. Behind them an army in pursuit. If they looked with natural eyes, they would have seen only the end. But I had already determined that the place they saw as a dead end would become the place where a path, one that had never existed, would open. In the same way, what you call no way out is often the very point where I establish something that has never been before. What you see as a wall, I see as material for a door. What you see as collapse, I see as the perfect ground on which to begin a new chapter. Child, what I want you to understand is not only that I forgive your past, but that I am leading you into a place you have never known before, a place where you live as someone truly free. Many times you have stepped out of your mistakes, but your mind stayed there. You are no longer in the old situation, yet you still think like someone bound. When you continue to call yourself by names I have already removed, you are unknowingly rebuilding the walls I have torn down. And it is those very walls that cause you to see the future through suspicion instead of hope. There are still dark corners in your heart that you have not dared to bring into the light. You avoid them because you are afraid that if you touch them, everything will explode and be too much to bear. You fear that if you open them up, your emotions will spiral out of control. But my child, I am not asking you to handle them on your own. I am asking you to invite me in. When I enter the darkness, it is no longer darkness. When I lay my hand on the part of you that you believe cannot be healed, it is no longer just a wound. It becomes the place where I plant life. I have spoken through the prophet Isaiah, I will not break a bruised reed, and I will not snuff out a smoldering wick. You see yourself as a wick about to go out, but I see in you a spark I know can be fanned into flame. You see yourself as a fragile reed, but I see in you a resilience that even the enemy did not expect. I do not break what is weak, I restore it. I do not extinguish what is fragile, I nurture it. You have tried to build your life on fear for so long that your courage has worn thin, but I am breathing life again into the places you thought were dead. The dreams you abandoned because you believed you were not enough, I am awakening them. The steps you never took because you felt unworthy, I am encouraging you toward them. The desires you once held but buried because they hurt too much, I am gently uncovering the soil so they can live again. You think you no longer know how to hope, but I know that hope is still smoldering within you, waiting for a single beam of light to rise. Let me ask you this. Why do you trust your limitations more than my power? Why do you believe the condemning voice more than my calling voice? Why do you focus more on what you lack than on what I am able to give? You are the child of the One who created heaven and earth. Why do you live as though you were begging for crumbs under the table? You are heir to life, to guidance, to protection, to wisdom. These are not privileges reserved for a chosen few. They are the portion of all who belong to me, and you are among them. My child, I want you to lift your gaze. Do not fix your eyes only on yesterday. Do not focus only on what others have done to you. Do not stare only at your present circumstances. Look at me. When you look at me, you will see that what you think is too late for you is not late at all in my timing. What you think is closed forever can open again when I touch it. What you think has been taken away, I can restore in ways you have never imagined. You do not know how strong you truly are. You think you are merely surviving, but I see you living. You think you are just following circumstances, but I see you stepping into destiny. You think you are just an ordinary person, but I see in you a heart I can use to bring life to others. And what I am doing in you now is not only for you, it is also for those who will be touched through the story of your life. This is the time for you to square your shoulders, not because you trust in yourself, but because you place your trust in me. This is the time for you to see yourself not through the lens of the past, but through the light I am shining on your future. This is the time for you to step into your true identity, one who is loved, one who is chosen, one who has purpose, one who bears my mark. My child, you are not only forgiven, called, and renewed, you have also been given a quiet yet profound power within your spirit, the power that comes from belonging to me. You often think that only those who are extraordinary, wholly gifted, or uniquely anointed can live strongly in my presence. But my child, I have never placed that standard on you. I do not build on the foundation of your excellence. I build on the foundation of my presence in you. Because I am in you, you have the capacity to rise from things others assumed would bury you. Because I am in you, you can overcome the limits that your past tied around your life. You do not walk in your own strength. You walk in the strength I give. You have often felt so weak that you believed you had no strength left to go on. You see yourself as a fragile clay jar that will crack with the slightest impact. You think that because you are so vulnerable, I cannot use you. But my child, it is precisely in that vulnerability that I am teaching you a secret. When you are weak, I am strong. When you stop trying to make everything work the right way by your own effort, you begin to experience my power working in the areas you cannot fix. As I spoke through my servant Paul, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. You see your weakness as a burden, but in truth it is the very place where I reveal my power. My child, you cannot see what I am doing if you continue to judge yourself through the lens of your failures. One stumble does not make you useless. One wrong choice does not erase what I have appointed for you. One dark chapter does not dim the entire book I am writing. Remember this, I do not write your story in pencil to erase and rewrite only when you get things right. I write with the ink of faithfulness, and nothing can stop me from completing what I have begun in you. There are times when you believe your life has nothing remarkable, but I see everything you do in quiet places, every small but righteous choice, every kind word spoken, even when you receive nothing in return, every tear you swallow when you had every right to lash out, every sacrifice no one knows about. These moments, though unseen by people, carry immeasurable value in my sight. When you remain honest in little things, you are preparing for greater things. When you overcome fear to take even one more step, you grow in spirit. When you choose love in the places where you feel most vulnerable, you reflect me more clearly. The closer you draw to me, the more clearly you'll see your true nature. Not the nature molded by outside voices, but the nature I planted within you. When you spend time with me, the dust of comparison begins to fall off. The shell of insecurity begins to soften. The walls built by shame begin to crack. You begin to realize you no longer have to live as someone desperate for the world's approval. Your worth does not come from whether others consider you important. It comes from the fact that I call you precious. Think of David when I chose him. No one saw anything noteworthy in him. He was out in the fields tending sheep, a task no one esteemed. But I saw his heart. I do not seek you because of reputation, position, or great accomplishments. I seek you because your heart is turned toward me, even with the scars others cannot understand. I see the love you hold for me, even when you cannot express it in words. I see the tenderness in your spirit, even when your exterior seems strong. I see deeper than you imagine, and nothing I see pushes me away. Instead, it draws me closer. My presence in your life has altered more than you know. I have protected you from relationships that would have deeply wounded you had they continued. I have closed doors you saw as opportunities but were truly traps. I have blocked harmful words from striking your spirit the way they intended. I have extinguished flaming arrows the enemy aimed at your thoughts. You do not know all I have shielded you from, and you do not need to know. You only need to trust that I have never abandoned you for even a moment. You often blame yourself for not being stronger, but hear me now. You do not need to be stronger for me to love you. You only need to be honest with me. When you are weak, I am your rest. When you have questions, I am where you ask. When you lose direction, I am where you return. When you are silent, I still wait. And when you feel you have nothing left to offer, I see a heart longing to be healed. My presence is not only for comforting you in difficulty, it is for renewing how you see life itself. Once your mind learns to see through my truth, you will no longer be easily crushed by criticism, unexpected events, or hard days. You will learn to stand not by your own strength, but by the confidence that I am with you. This does not remove trials, but it removes their power to defeat you. Let me ask you again, why do you still see yourself through your old lens when I have given you a new name? Why do you keep your head bowed when I have lifted your face? Why do you tremble when I have placed my strength within you, my child? You were not created to shrink back. You were created to shine. You may think your light is small, but in my hands, even the faintest spark is enough to drive out the thickest darkness. You are not only saved, you are chosen to carry life. You are not only healed, you are called to bring healing to others. You are not only lifted up, you will become one who lifts others. What I am doing in you today will not end with you. It will flow far beyond what you imagine. That is why I am placing something new in your spirit, a holy confidence that does not depend on yourself but on me. A wholeness born from allowing me to shape every part of your inner life. This is only the beginning. From this day on, you will learn to see life through the eyes of one who has been freed from the old identity, stepping into the identity I have given you. One who is strong in me, steady in peace, and full of hope in every season. You do not walk alone. I am beside you, and I will continue to teach you day by day. My child, you have lived too long under the belief that you must figure everything out, decide everything yourself, and find your own way among endless choices. But today, I want you to know you were never created to navigate life alone. I did not form you as a boat drifting aimlessly on the vast sea. I formed you as a vessel with a compass driven by my wind, guided by me, your helmsman. You are not lost, not misplaced, not forgotten. You are exactly where I have allowed you to be, for the sake of preparing you for what comes next. There are seasons when you cannot see the meaning of your circumstances simply because you are standing inside one part of the picture. I see the whole canvas. I know every line, every shade, every detail, and I know where each piece fits. Your only task is to trust that my process never errs. There are seasons when I must place you in the quiet of the wilderness so you can hear me more clearly. Just as Moses tended sheep for 40 years before hearing my voice from the burning bush, you too are learning to recognize me in the simplicity and stillness of days that seem uneventful. But it is in those very days that your spirit is being shaped, your heart softened, and your ears trained to listen, something you cannot learn when too many things fight for your attention. I see your hesitant steps whenever you fear choosing the wrong path. You worry that one misstep will push me away, that one wrong direction will make you lose what I planned for you. But my child, I do not demand perfect precision from you. I do not require you to always be correct. I only ask that you invite me to walk with you. When you step wrongly, I know how to pull you back. When you wander, I know how to redirect. When you stay still too long, I know how to lift you up. You cannot go so far that I cannot find you. You cannot turn so wrongly that I cannot lead you home. Remember Job, my child. He walked through a series of pains that seemed meaningless. Yet in the midst of all, he did not understand I was still there, silent but not distant, still but never abandoning him. And in the end, when he looked back, he realized that what I did in the dark was greater than what he had hoped for in the light. What is happening in your life is the same. The things you call random are each detail I am using to shape your soul. The steps you think are off track are in fact the journey that is training you in discernment. The days you feel weakest are the very days I am driving your roots deeper into the ground. My child, my guidance does not always appear as a loud, commanding voice. Sometimes it is a gentle stirring in your heart. Sometimes it is a strange peace that follows a choice others consider unreasonable. Sometimes it is a restlessness you feel when you stand before something that looks appealing but does not belong to you. These things, small as they seem, are also my whispers into your mind. I speak through Scripture, but I also speak through the inner movements of your spirit. I speak through peace, and I also speak through closed doors. I speak through your prayers, and I also speak through circumstances that force you to pause and reflect. What I want from you now is not for you to strain to hear something loud, but to learn to trust me in the smallness. When you believe that I am leading you, you no longer have to exhaust yourself trying to lead your own life. When you believe that I am near you, no longer have to run in haste looking for shortcuts. When you believe that I am holding your hand, you no longer need to fear unexpected turns in the road. What I lead you into is not always what you want, but it is always what you need. You see your present need, but I see the shape of your future. You only see the path in front of you, but I see the horizon. That is why there are times I lead you into rest when you want to run. There are times I lead you into testing when you want stability. There are times I place you near people you would not have chosen, simply because I know they will teach you lessons you could never learn alone. You once thought, my leading must always feel gentle, yet sometimes it comes through pruning. Just as a vine must be trimmed, its fruitless branches cut away so that life can flow into what is clean and healthy, your soul is also going through a pruning process. This pruning is not meant to harm you, but to strengthen you. It makes you simpler, purer, and strong enough to carry what I am preparing for you. I never abandon you in these processes. You may feel lonely, but I have not left. You may think everything is moving too slowly, but I am not delaying without purpose. You may feel as though you cannot hear me, but I am guiding you through wordless turns in the path. Do not measure my presence by fleeting emotions. Measure it by the faithfulness I have shown since the foundation of the world. You do not need to know the whole road. You only need to know that I am on it with you. When you hold on to this truth, you will no longer tremble every time you face a new decision. You will no longer doubt your worth whenever circumstances shake. You will no longer fear being left behind, because you know I am walking right beside you, not watching from afar, but sharing the road with you. Lean on me as a child leans into a father's arms, not because they understand everything, but because they trust that this love is enough to lead them anywhere. From here, I will bring you into a deeper guidance where your spirit learns to discern what comes from me and what does not, where you recognize my footsteps even in confusion, where you know with certainty that even when you walk through darkness, you do not need to be afraid, for I am there closer than your very breath. My child, as you learn to recognize my subtle leading in the small steps of your life, I want to take you deeper to a place where your spirit can distinguish my voice among the many echoes in your heart. All this time you have believed that the most important thing is simply to hear me speak clearly. But what I desire for you is greater than that. I want you to be trained to recognize my presence even when everything around you is quiet. I do not always speak in words, but I am always there. And when you learn to sense me in the stillness, you will no longer panic when circumstances change, no longer grow impatient when my words are not yet revealed, no longer doubt when you step into the unknown. My child, there are seasons when I speak through peace, seasons when I speak through gentle prompting, and seasons when I speak through a closing door, forcing you to stop and look at yourself. But it is often in the times when I seem silent that you are being refined the most. My silence is not absence. It is a space in which you grow. Remember that I do not treat you as a child who must be held by the hand forever. I want you to grow, to be strong, to be steadfast, and to know how to walk with me in mature discernment. You have thought that discernment is an ability reserved only for those who are deeply spiritual. But my child, discernment is not a privilege for a select few. It is a gift for all who desire to listen to me. As you spend time in my presence, your thoughts begin to be purified. The voices that do not belong to me grow weaker. And you start to notice the difference between what carries the fragrance of life and what carries the scent of death. When a thought comes from me, it brings light, ease, and encouragement. When a thought comes from fear, it tightens you, weighs you down, and makes you feel further from me. These signals may seem small, but they are vital signs that help you recognize my voice in what appears vague. My child, there are times when you hesitate because you are unsure whether your decision aligns with my will. You fear choosing wrongly, losing something good, or following something that does not belong to you. But I want you to know there is no decision I cannot redeem. I am not limited by your clumsiness. I am not confused by the turns you take. When you entrust your direction to me, I can turn even what seems like a mistake into an opportunity to teach you more deeply about yourself, about me, and about how I work. What I desire from you is not flawless accuracy, but a fierce trust that I will not let you stray too far. Like a shepherd leading his flock, I go before you not to observe from a distance, but to protect you from dangers you cannot see. When you turn aside, I know how to call you back. When you wander, I know how to draw you in. When you slow down from fear, I know how to encourage you. And when you run too fast in anxiety, I know how to lay my hand upon your shoulder and remind you that the safest pace is the pace of trust. My child, discernment also means recognizing what does not come from me. Not everything that looks right is right. Not everything that seems fine is mine. Some things are attractive on the surface, but carry chaos underneath. Some words sound sweet, but drain your spirit dry. Some relationships look like opportunities, but are actually distractions pulling you away from what I am unfolding in you. There are also things you think are losses, when in truth I am freeing you from what was never meant to be yours. Let me remind you of Samuel. When he heard the voice calling in the night, he first thought it was Eli. He was mistaken. But I did not rebuke him. I called again and again until he recognized and replied, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." From that moment on, he no longer confused my voice with the voice of a man. You too are being guided in this way. The times you think you have misunderstood, the times you feel out of rhythm, The times you believe you are not spiritual enough, these are the very lessons I am using to refine your inner hearing. I want you to begin to believe that nothing in your life is wasted. Every event, every encounter, every moment of confusion, each one is a lesson I am using to prepare you for the days ahead. You do not know what I am about to do, but I know fully. You do not see how each detail connects, but I see the flow of it all. I have never led you into anything without purpose, and I have never left you to find your own way out alone. My child, learning discernment also means learning to remain silent before the demands that come from outside and even within. You do not need to respond to every expectation placed on you. You do not need to satisfy every request. You do not need to chase after every time someone lays a burden upon your shoulders. I want you to know how to say no when I am not leading, and I want you to know how to say, "That is enough," when your heart feels stretched too thin. Discernment is not only recognizing what is good, it is also having the courage to refuse what merely appears good, but does not come from me. My guidance always carries peace. Peace is not the absence of problems, but my presence in the midst of them. When you stand before a choice and your soul feels clear, light, and spacious, that is a sign you are drawing near to my will. But when your mind becomes tangled, tense, or weary for no reason, that is a warning bell that you are touching something that does not come from me. I will teach you to recognize that peace, little by little. It is like a small lamp I have placed inside you, not glaring, not noisy, but bright enough to show the way when everything around you grows dim. That lamp becomes clearer when you learn to set your heart before me each day, not through rigid rituals, but through the simplicity of a heart that longs to be close to me. From today on, I want you to begin stepping into days not driven by fear, but by guidance. No more decisions made in panic. No more choices made in rushed impulse. No more actions taken out of fear of being left behind. Every step you take will be grounded in the peace I give and in the trust that even when you do not know everything, I know everything. My child, learn to live each day in companionship with me, not only to come to me when everything becomes difficult. All this time you have rushed to me when your heart was cornered, when you felt you had no escape, when the pain exceeded your strength. And in those moments I still received you, still held, you still wiped your tears. But my love for you is not reserved only for moments of crisis. I want to be present in the most ordinary moments of your life, your hurried morning steps, your quiet meals, the daily commute that repeats endlessly, the hours of work that seem uneventful. You think those moments are too small, not worthy of my involvement. You tell me only about the big things, the deep fears, the overwhelming dreams. But I want you to know that I care about even the smallest things. I care about the way you smile at a stranger, about how you treat yourself, about the sentences you say inside your mind, about the choices you make when no one notices. There is no part of your life too small for me to enter. I am not only the God of miracles, I am the Father of your tiny daily habits. Child, when you begin to talk to me in the midst of ordinary things, you will realize that I am not as far away as you imagined. You can tell me about anxieties that feel too small a conversation you must face, a task you're unsure. You can handle an emotion you don't understand. You can whisper to me in your heart while sitting among the crowd. You can sigh toward me on your way home. You can breathe out a silent cry and simply say, "Lord, be with me in this." I hear it all. No whisper of yours falls into an empty void. Let me be the first voice you turn to when something touches your mind. All this time you often went to others first and only came to me last. You asked social media, you sought hurried advice, you listened to voices that did not understand your soul, and only when you were worn out did you return to me. I do not condemn you, but I invite you into a new way of living. Learn to bring your questions to me first. When you are sad, tell me first. When you are joyful, give thanks to me first. When you are uncertain, ask me before you seek counsel elsewhere. Companionship is not a rigid ritual. It is the natural flow of a living relationship. You do not need to wait for a quiet space, a church, building a hymn, or a sermon to talk with me. These things are precious, but I am not confined by walls or schedules. I am present in your small room, at your desk, in your kitchen, in your car, at the traffic light, in the long queue, in the late-night moments when you are alone. If you invite me, any place can become a sanctuary. If you lift your heart toward me, any moment can become an encounter. I know there are days when you feel spiritually dry. You open your mouth to pray, but no words come. You pick up scripture, but your mind drifts. You hear testimonies of others' faith and feel distant. You think you must have gone too far, or that I have grown tired of you, or that your spirit is broken, but my child, it is not so. The life of faith has seasons, just as the earth has rainy and dry seasons. Not every season is full of emotion. Not every moment is dramatic. There are times I let you walk through quietness, not to abandon you, but to teach you to love me for who I am, not merely for what you feel. In such times, what I desire from you is not forced emotion, but simple faithfulness. Day after day, you choose to return to me, even when you feel little. You whisper, "Lord, I have nothing much to bring today, but I still want to be here with you." To the world that may seem small, but to me it is mature love. When you remain even without feeling much, your love is no longer built on emotion but on a decision, and I treasure that deeply. I do not require you to be always on fire, always fervent. I know your fragile, shifting nature. I know the days when your spirit is heavy, when your body is tired, when your mind sinks low. But even in those days, if you still turn to me, even with the smallest whisper, I will use that tiny act to feed the flame within you. You may not see your progress, but I do. You may not feel your growth, but I do. You think you are merely doing your best to maintain, but I am building in you an endurance that will astonish you when you look back someday. You do not need to divide your life into spiritual moments and ordinary moments. With me, there is no such boundary. When you work with integrity, that is worship. When you care for your loved ones with patience, that is a response to my love. When you choose honesty and refuse what is wrong, even when no one sees, that is reverence toward me. You do not live for me only when you sing, pray, or read scripture. You live for me even when you wash dishes, go to the market, write reports, or answer emails. If you lift each small task to me, your entire day becomes a song. My beloved child, I want to set you free from the idea that you are only close to me when you do certain spiritual things. I want you to know that I am in every breath. Every time you turn your heart toward me and say, "Please be here with me," at that very moment you are already near me. It is not the length of the prayer that creates the relationship. It is the sincerity of the heart. A short cry that comes from your whole soul can be more precious than 1,000 long sentences spoken with a distracted mind. And as you learn to live this way, to live with me, not just occasionally drop by me, you will slowly notice something very gentle and beautiful. You no longer have to force yourself to be positive, to stay strong, or to be at peace the way you did before. When you are close to me, these things become as natural as flowers blooming when there is light and water. Peace comes not because life is calm, but because you know that I am there, even in the storm. Hope comes not because all the signs look good, but because you know I do not abandon what I have begun. Joy comes not because you have avoided every sorrow, but because in the midst of sorrow you still feel my hand holding you up. I did not call you merely to endure this life. I called you to truly live, to live in my presence, to live with a heart that knows it is loved, to live with eyes that see meaning even in the smallest things. This is what I am preparing you for, a life where you take each step knowing you are not walking alone, speak each word knowing I am listening, and breathe each breath knowing it is not meaningless. From here I will lead you into an even deeper stage, not only companionship, not only discernment, but also showing you the mysterious power of the very thoughts and declarations you nurture every day. For your mind is the place where I want to perform my next miracle, and I will be with you in every step of that journey. My beloved, I want to bring you into an area many people overlook, yet it is the place that determines the strength, freedom, and direction of your life, your mind. You have learned of my presence in ordinary days. You have begun to recognize how I guide you through silence and through the small movements of your spirit. But what I want to show you now goes much deeper. I want you to understand that everything I do in your life, healing, guidance, renewal, flows from a center, the thoughts of your heart. You often think that your life is determined by circumstances, by the words of others, by unexpected events that overturn your plans. But my child, it is not so. It is the quiet things happening within your mind that shape how you see the world, how you understand yourself, and how you respond to everything that comes. Two people can walk through the same hardship and yet emerge completely differently because the inner thoughts determine the outer strength. Do not take this lightly. Your mind is like a field I have entrusted to your care. Whatever you sow, it will grow. Whatever you water, it will thrive. If you allow seeds of doubt, fear, inferiority, or shame to take root, they will grow, spread, and tighten their grip around your heart. But if you sow truth, peace, hope, and the words I have spoken, then these will grow into strength, stability, and clarity that no storm can shake. I know you have been wounded by words sharp as knives, by the silence of those you hoped would speak, by pressures that have been pressing down on you. These things have left marks in your mind, causing you to see yourself more through the images pain has put on you than through the image I have placed within you. You have told yourself many things I have never said. I am not enough. I am unworthy. I am not important. I cannot do anything. You have thought this was humility, but in reality, it is a lie the enemy sowed to limit you. My child, you were created in my image. That does not only speak of form or soul, it speaks of your ability to think, to create, to direct, and to shape reality through choices born in your mind. When I say you are fearfully and wonderfully made, it is not meant as a pleasant phrase for you to hear and forget. I want you to understand that within you is a spiritual structure designed to carry truth, not the burden of lies. Your mind was not made to be soil for fear, but a place where my word can bear fruit. Think of Abraham. When I promised him descendants as numerous as the stars, he had nothing in his hands. His circumstances even contradicted my promise. What made him the father of faith was not that he was stronger than other people, but that he chose to believe what I said more than what his eyes saw. He allowed my truth to hold the highest place in his mind, and that opened the way for the miracle. My child, I do not need you to become extraordinary. I need your mind to come into agreement with my truth. But I also know your mind does not change in an instant. The things you heard as a child, the old wounds still healing, the rejections you endured, the failures that made you doubt yourself, all these have carved pathways in your thoughts. You respond quickly to fear because you are used to it. You doubt yourself because you have heard those accusations for so long. You avoid new things because your mind remembers past defeats. But my child, I did not create you to be confined in those worn-out paths. I have come to open a new way right in your mind. I am not asking you to deny your pain or pretend nothing ever happened. I see it all, and I understand every wound. But I want you to begin to look at your thoughts through my light. When a thought comes and makes you shrink back, ask yourself, does this come from him? When a sentence rises up and condemns you, examine it. Does this sound like the voice of the one who loves me? When you find yourself imagining the worst possible outcomes, remember that I have never led you by fear. I lead you by peace. Right now, I want you to understand a profound principle. What you repeat in your mind will find a way to show up in your life. If you keep feeding the thought that you are unworthy, you will act like someone unworthy. If you continually think you will fail, you will hesitate at every open door. If you see yourself as a burden, you will withdraw even when I am calling you to step out. But if you nurture the truth that you are loved unconditionally, that you are chosen with purpose, that you have a future, I have designed that my spirit lives in you, then you will live as someone with hope, with strength, and with an inner joy that cannot be stolen. My child, I do not want you to fight your thoughts in your own strength. On your own you are too weak, but with me your mind will be renewed day by day. I will teach you how to take captive the thoughts that do not belong to me. I will help you replace lies with truth. I will show you how to speak my words to rebuild the places in your mind that have been torn down. I will lead you step by step, gently yet firmly, so that you see renewal not as a burden, but as a journey I walk with you. The truth is this: you are stronger than you think, not because you are capable, but because I am in you. You will no longer be dragged around by the things that once dominated your mind. You will no longer be strangled by old memories. You will no longer be threatened by vague fears. When your mind is renewed, your whole life will change. What once knocked you down will no longer have the power to destroy you. What once stole your sleep will no longer have the right to dictate your days. What once robbed you of peace will shrink in the light of my presence. This is the moment I place something new in your heart. Begin to see your thoughts as doors that open into your future. When you choose truth, you are opening the door to life. When you choose peace, you are closing the door on chaos. When you choose hope, you are planting seeds for miracles. You do not have to wait for circumstances to change. As your mind is renewed, circumstances will eventually yield and follow. I will teach you how to nourish your mind so that it becomes a solid foundation for everything I desire to do. But first, receive this truth: you have the right to say no to thoughts that drain and destroy you, and you have the right to say yes to the truth that leads you into life. My child, you can feel pain in your body. You can see the upheavals in your circumstances, but what happens in your mind often moves so quietly that you do not realize how powerful it is. What happens inside you is the root that determines what you will become. That is why today I want to open your eyes so that you can see clearly that your thoughts are not random waves, but streams of water that shape the banks of your inner land every single day. Some thoughts come and go as lightly as a passing breeze, but others take deep roots, turn into beliefs. Then from beliefs become behaviors, and from behaviors become a way of life. Fear does not arrive all at once. It begins with a small thought you agree with. Despair does not appear overnight. It forms through the days when you let sadness freely occupy your heart without bringing it to me. In the same way, trust, hope, holy confidence. All of these also begin with a single thought you allow to take root. What you think about does not stay only in your mind. It slips down into your heart, shapes your gaze, your words, and the decisions you make. That is why I want you to become a guardian of your own mind. Do not let just any thought have the right to dwell inside. Just as a farmer must know which seed is good to plant, you must also know which thoughts are worthy to take root in your inner life. Thoughts that bring life come from me. Thoughts that make you shrink back, condemn yourself, or feel further from me, those are not what I sow. Where your heart is, your thoughts will follow. Whatever you continually meditate on, whether fear, pressure, or hope, will become the picture you see of yourself. If that picture is dark, your life will feel heavy. But if that picture is lit by my truth, you will walk in a freedom the world cannot give. You ask me, how can I change my thoughts when they come so quickly? I want you to know that changing your thinking is not about forcing yourself to stop being negative. It begins with recognizing the source of your thoughts. When you can see which voice is the enemy's, which is the echo of your past, which is the voice of fear, you will know how to refuse them. You will realize that not everything that rings in your mind is true. Only my truth has the right to define you. I want you to know this. Your thoughts are never stronger than my word when you choose to stand on it. No lie is stronger than truth spoken in faith. No fear is stronger than the peace I place within you. But you must choose. You must open your mouth and speak truth when darkness presses in. You must stand on my word when anxiety demands to rule. You must declare what I have spoken about you until your mind holds it as its foundation. What I am teaching you is not self-soothing, but placing your heart on a foundation that cannot be shaken by my word. When you speak my truth to your own heart day after day, you are planting seeds of faith. When you reject words of self-condemnation and choose to speak words of life, you are cutting away old roots. When you choose to see your circumstances through the eyes of hope, you are opening the way for me to move. Look at Joshua when I placed a new land into his hands. He stood before high walls, strong warriors, and an unknown future. Yet the first thing I said to him was not a battle strategy, but this: meditate on my word day and night. Do not let it depart from your mouth. Why? Because I knew that before he could win on the outside, his mind needed to be transformed on the inside. His mind had to listen to me more than to fear. His mind had to be steady before his feet entered the land I gave. And the same is true for you today. If you change only your actions without renewing your mind, you will only change the surface. But when your mind is renewed, everything else will follow naturally. Your words, your behavior, your choices, your reactions. And when all of these are renewed, your life will be transformed in a deep and lasting way. I know there are stubborn thoughts that exhaust you, scenes from the past, words that wounded you, memories that make it hard to lift your head. I am not asking you to forget them in a day. I am not pressuring you to pretend they never happened. But I do want you to bring them to me little by little and allow me to shine my truth upon them. As you do this, their power over you will fade. They will lose their control. They will no longer define who you are. I also want you to learn to distinguish which thoughts come from me and which come from fear or from the enemy. My voice never throws you into panic. My word never makes you shrink back or feel condemned. My word may correct you, but it always leads to life. Thoughts that come from darkness always bring pressure, heaviness, confusion, or despair. When you feel yourself being pulled into those thoughts, stand up and say, I do not follow this voice, and return to truth. You are not forced to believe everything you think. You have a choice. You can speak back. You can take thoughts captive and bring them into my light. You can refuse to let toxic thoughts live inside your heart. You can proclaim truth louder than any lie. Renewal is not a battle you fight alone. I am there in every small step. When you let go of one old thought, I rejoice. When you open up to one new thought that comes from me, heaven rejoices. When you choose hope in the smallest matter, it is a victory in the unseen spiritual realm that your eyes cannot yet behold. Begin now. Let your mind be washed by my truth. Let my word be the lamp that shines into every corner of your heart. And as you do, you will be amazed to find that what once knocked you down no longer makes you lose your footing. What once made you tremble no longer fills you with fear. For your mind will be anchored in the peace. I give a peace that surpasses all understanding. My child, I will teach you how to nourish right thoughts until they become the natural flow of your life. Renewal is not only about removing wrong thoughts, but about continually sowing into your mind the thoughts that carry life. You cannot leave your mind empty, because whatever is left empty will be filled by something else. I want you to build actively, not only to defend passively. Think of a garden. If the gardener only pulls weeds but never plants seeds, the ground will quickly be overtaken by weeds again. Your mind is the same. When you push fear away but do not sow, trust fear will find its way back. When you reject inferiority but do not replace it with a true sense of your worth, the old voice will rise again. When you drive away images of failure but do not nourish hope, darkness will return to fill the empty space. That is why I do not only call you to resist wrong thinking, I invite you to cultivate right thinking. You ask me, how can I nurture good and wholesome thoughts when everything around me feels so chaotic? I want you to understand that true nurturing does not depend on circumstances, but on where you set your gaze. You cannot control what comes your way, but you can choose what is allowed to remain in your mind. You may hear many voices throughout the day, but not every voice is one you must believe. You have the authority to decide what is permitted to grow within your heart. A life-giving thought is one that draws you closer to me, rather than pulls you away. It carries gentleness, not pressure. It illuminates your path, not obscures it. It widens your heart instead of causing it to shrink. It fosters gratitude rather than bitterness. When a thought comes and you sense a deep peace within you, even though your situation has not changed, that is a sign that the thought is from me. So how do you nurture your inner life? First, build the habit of returning to my word every day, not as a duty, but as a source of life. My word is not merely text. It is a pure stream of light entering the darkest places of your heart. When you read, meditate, and repeat it, you are planting seeds of truth into good soil, and those seeds over time will grow into understanding, then into faith, and eventually into a way of living. But my word is not the only way I nurture your mind. I also use the small and ordinary things in your daily life, a peaceful morning moment, an unexpected act of kindness, a conversation that lifts your spirit, a song that brings me back to your memory, a fleeting thought that softens your heart. Pay attention to these moments. They are streams of water nurturing the seeds I have planted. This nurturing requires perseverance. You cannot expect one positive thought to instantly replace patterns that have existed for years. But step by step, moment by moment, as you continue to turn toward truth, the old thoughts will gradually lose their power. Like a mountain climber who does not notice progress after a few steps, yet after many small steps, realizes they have traveled a long distance, you too will see change over time. Remember that your mind is not renewed by impatience. It is renewed by faithfulness. When you consistently sow my word, you are rebuilding the internal structure of your soul. When you reject destructive thoughts, you are tearing down old strongholds. When you choose gratitude instead of resentment, you are opening the door to peace. When you choose to rely on me rather than carry everything alone, you are inviting me into the very places you once tried to guard by yourself. Not everything you hear is harmless. Not everything you watch is just entertainment. Every sound, image, and word you take in becomes material for your thoughts. If you fill yourself with fear, fear will seek to take root. If you absorb what is toxic, your heart will be stained. But if you choose to surround yourself with light encouragement, and what builds up your mind will gradually become strong and steady. I am not asking you to withdraw from the world, but I am asking you to be discerning. You cannot leave the door of your heart open to every stream of influence. You cannot allow voices without hope to become the soundtrack of your life. You cannot let harsh words become the whisper you believe. Become a careful watchman, one who knows when to close the gate of the mind against anything that pulls you away from me. I want you to learn an important skill: speaking truth to yourself. Not empty phrases, but words rooted in deep faith. When you say you are loved, you are declaring an unchanging truth. When you say I am at work, you are building your trust in my faithfulness. When you say you are chosen, you are acknowledging the purpose I placed in you from the beginning. And when you say, I am with you, you are opening the door for peace to fill the places where anxiety once lived. My child, these words are not always easy to say, especially when circumstances contradict them. But the very moment truth becomes hardest to declare is the moment it must be declared the most. When you stand in the dark and still choose to speak my word, that is the act of faith. And that faith, though as small as a mustard seed, is strong enough to move mountains. I see every attempt you make to change your thoughts, every effort to step out of fear, every moment you try to silence the old voices. You think you are doing it alone, but I am right beside you, lifting every thought you surrender to me, illuminating every word you speak even when you are weary. I cherish every small effort you make because I know each step is opening the way toward freedom. The renewal of the mind is not an endless journey without a destination. I am leading you to a place where your thoughts naturally align with my truth, a place where faith no longer feels like something you must cling to, but like a river flowing within you. A place where fear no longer dominates your inner world but becomes a distant sound with no authority. A place where hope becomes your breath and peace becomes the atmosphere you live in. That time is drawing nearer than you think. And as we step into the next part, I will show you how to live in that transformation every day, not as an effort but as a natural outflow of walking with me. My beloved child, I want to lead you into a new stage of maturity, learning to live in the strength of transformation. For renewal is not merely something that happens within you. It is something that changes the way you walk, the way you face life, and the way you see yourself each day. You have listened, you have received, you have planted. Now it is time for you to learn to live in what you have become, like a young tree that not only grows roots, but also begins to rise, stretch out its leaves, and turn toward the light. I know it is not easy for you to believe that the change happening within you is real and lasting. You have begun many times and then stopped, resolved many times and then grown weary, believed many times and then doubted again. I do not rebuke you for this. I know the structure of your soul, how soft it is, how easily stirred by what surrounds you, how deeply marked by old memories. And because I know your fragility, I lead you step by step from awareness to discernment, from discernment to renewal, and from renewal to deeper transformation. Every step has purpose, and every stage becomes the foundation for the next. My child, true transformation is not merely changing your thoughts once. It is learning to live according to truth in the very situations that once caused you to collapse. Genuine transformation reveals itself most clearly, not in peaceful days, but in the moments of testing, when you face what once frightened you, when you hear again the words that once wounded you, when you encounter memories that once broke. Your heart, when you are placed in circumstances that you once believed would shatter you, it is in those very moments that you will know how deeply truth has taken root. I do not want you to fear the challenges that lie ahead. They are not signs that I am distant. They are opportunities for you to see how far you have already come. Every challenge is a mirror showing you the strength I have placed within you and how it is growing. Do not run away when you meet again the things that once made you tremble. Remember, you are no longer who you used to be. You step into those moments with me, with truth, with the light I have kindled within your mind. You once believed that peace came only when you escaped your problems. But now I want you to learn the peace that comes from within, a peace not dependent on circumstances but rooted in my presence. I want you to become someone who can walk into a strong wind and remain standing, not because the wind has weakened, but because your roots have grown deeper. Not because you no longer feel emotions, but because emotions no longer control you. Not because you have become cold, but because you have found a true refuge, my arms. You once saw yourself through the lens of failure, accusation, and shame. But my child, I am teaching you to see yourself through my eyes, eyes filled with love, seeing every broken piece, yet never withdrawing affection, seeing every weakness, yet still calling you by the name of hope. When you learn to see yourself through my lens, you will be amazed to find that the burdens that once crushed your shoulders no longer weigh the same. You ask me, how do I know if I have truly been transformed? I want you to remember three things. First, when you begin responding differently to the very things that once dragged you into darkness, that is a sign transformation has reached your roots. Second, when you begin to see goodness in places where you once saw only pain, that is the fruit of deep healing. Third, when your first instinct is to ask me before you fear, that is a sign you are living in true communion with me. These things do not appear in a single day. They emerge naturally when truth becomes a part of you. In the past, you were easily wounded by the words of others. Now you are beginning to understand that they too are fighting their own thoughts and hidden wounds. In the past, you kept your distance for fear of judgment. Now your heart is softer because you know how patient I have been with you all these years. In the past, you felt inferior when others succeeded. Now you are learning that I have a unique path for each person, and you do not need to race to prove your worth. These are the fruits of transformation, things that come not from effort but from being near me. Transformation does not make you flawless, it makes you authentic. You will still have days of weakness, moments of hesitation, and seasons of weariness. But the difference is this: you will not return to the old darkness. You will know the way back to me. You will know how to place fear at my feet instead of letting it rule you. You will know how to let me lift you up instead of condemning yourself. This is true strength, not never falling but rising each time by my strength. I am bringing you into a season where the transformation of your mind becomes the foundation for your decisions. You will no longer choose based on fear of loss, but on trust in my providence. You will no longer act according to the patterns of your past, but according to the new understanding of the future I have prepared. You will no longer avoid challenges, but will step into them with holy confidence, because you know that in all things you face, you are not walking alone. My child, now that you have begun to walk as one who is being transformed, I want to teach you an essential skill to preserve what you have received, learning to live each day with spiritual attentiveness. Attentiveness is not tension, nor is it forcing yourself to stay alert. It is a gentle clarity, a sensitivity that helps you recognize what is happening in your mind and soul before it pulls you back into old whirlwinds. It is like a small lamp lit in the night, not blinding but enough to guide your steps, showing you when to pause and when to move forward. Spiritual attentiveness is something people often neglect in a hurried life. It is so easy to be swept away by work responsibilities and layered expectations until you no longer notice where your heart is going, what your mind is dwelling on, or what burdens your soul is carrying. But I want you to know that the enemy does not need to destroy your life with big events. He only needs to make you forget the direction of your thoughts for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, and you will gradually drift away from the peace I give. I want you to learn to recognize this as soon as it begins so you will not be carried too far. Do you realize that sometimes your loss of direction does not come from a major event, but from small, aimless thoughts accumulating inside you, a little worry repeated often enough? A light self-criticism whispered again and again, a vague feeling that you are not good enough, an unintentional comparison that quietly returns to your heart. These small things, if left unnoticed, grow into shadows that dim your joy. That is why I want you to learn attentiveness, to notice when your mind begins to drift and to realign it with truth. Look at what happened to Elijah in the wilderness. After a great victory on Mount Carmel, he felt invincible, yet one threat from the enemy drove him into fear, despair, and a plea for death. What made such a strong man become so fragile? Not the circumstance, but how he perceived it. His mind was overtaken by fear, and because of that he could no longer sense my nearness. My child, this has also happened to you, but I do not blame you. I am using those very moments to teach you that your mind needs daily guarding. Spiritual attentiveness is not rigid vigilance. It is the gentle sensitivity to perceive the subtle movements of the soul. When your heart suddenly grows heavy, ask me, Lord, where is this coming from? When you feel unsettled, whisper, please show me what is stirring inside my heart. When a thought makes you tremble, place it under my light and ask, Father, is this your voice? Those simple questions will help you pause before something small grows into a mountain within you. I also want to teach you how to recognize when you are being drawn into the most subtle trap of all, the trap of self-condemnation. When you find yourself repeatedly blaming yourself for things outside your control, it is a sign you are listening to a voice that does not come from me. When small mistakes make you question your worth, that is the moment you must return to the truth I have spoken. I have never told you that you must be perfect to be loved. I have never placed on your shoulders the burden of getting everything right. I see your journey, not just your stumbles. I see the intentions of your heart, not just what is unfinished. I see what you are moving toward, not only what you are trying to avoid. Attentiveness also means recognizing when your heart is trying to control everything. When you feel the urge to grasp the future tightly, to manage the reactions of others, to predict every outcome so you won't be hurt, that is a sign you are drifting away from me. For wherever control takes over, peace loses its place. I did not create you to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. I created you to lean on me. When you release control, your mind becomes lighter and your soul recovers the peace you lost long ago. I want you to pay attention to the moments when your spirit is being stretched. When your heart feels dry, it is not a sign that you are failing. It is an invitation to come closer to me. When you feel an unexplainable weariness, it is a call for you to pause and draw strength from me. When a sudden competitiveness or desire to compare yourself rises within you, it is a sign your mind is drifting from truth. When impatience or irritability appears, that is the moment to take a deep breath and say, Lord, please touch my heart. None of these moments are for condemnation, but reminders that you need me. I do not ask you to maintain constant, intense attentiveness. I only ask that you not let your heart wander too far before returning. Attentiveness is not perfection, it is returning sooner. In the past, you might have wandered in the dark for weeks, months, or years before finding me again. But now, as you grow in truth, attentiveness will bring you back within days, then hours, then minutes. That is spiritual maturity. You will recognize me more quickly. When you become sensitive to the movements within your soul, you will see my presence in the most ordinary moments. You will notice me in a gentle word, in a tear that is wiped away, in a quiet breath of peace, in a small glimmer of light on a gray day. You will see me comforting you in the little signs others overlook. You will sense me opening a path even when nothing external has changed. And these small assurances will become a deep well of comfort that no storm can take from you. Attentiveness is also a gift that protects you from stumbling into things that seem harmless at first. A small, unkind word can become the root of bitterness. A moment of carelessness can open the door to fear. A small compromise can grow into a heavy chain. But when you are attentive, you will see these things before they take root. You will know when to pause, when to turn away, and when to choose what is right, even when what is wrong seems easier. I place this on your heart. Attentiveness is not a burden but a gift that keeps you within peace. It helps you walk through difficult days without losing the light within. It helps you stand firm even when your circumstances do not. It helps you recognize me in every smallest step. My beloved child, now I want to lead you into a new horizon of maturity, living in true freedom. Not freedom given by circumstances, not freedom granted by success, and not the fleeting freedom that rises and falls with emotion, but freedom that flows from my presence within you. This freedom is not loud or showy. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows they belong to me, someone who knows they no longer wear the old chains, someone who knows that the path ahead is one I walk with them. Many people think freedom means doing whatever they want, living however they choose without anyone stopping them. But in reality, that is only an illusion. If you follow every impulse but are still bound by the fear of failure, the craving for human approval, or the memories of what wounded you, you are not truly free. Freedom is not the absence of limits. It is the absence of the things that once held your soul captive. True freedom is not standing in an open field without direction. True freedom is knowing you are held in the hand of the one who guides every step. My child, freedom does not come by denying the past, but by letting me touch it and transform it. Not by erasing memories, but by healing them. Not by pretending the hurt never happened, but by allowing me to remove its power to wound you. True freedom comes when painful memories no longer control you, when the past no longer dictates your attitude or your path. You may remember, but you will no longer be imprisoned by what you remember. True freedom is also the ability to feel emotions without being ruled by them. You may still feel sad, still feel hurt, still feel tired, but these emotions will no longer take root as they once did. They will come and go like passing winds, no longer capable of building walls within your mind. You will learn to see emotions as part of life, not as absolute truth. And this discernment will bring you to a deeper place, the place where you know you are not defined by what you feel, but by what I declare over you. Let me ask you this. Do you realize that in the past, a single light criticism could cause you to shrink back for many days? A moment of uncertainty could send you into panic. One failure could make you conclude that you never could. But now, as you learn to walk in truth, you will notice that you respond differently. Not because the problems have grown smaller, but because your spirit has grown stronger. Not because fear has vanished, but because fear no longer has the final word. This is the beginning of freedom. True freedom is also seen in the way you choose what is right without the intense inner battle you once had. When truth becomes your foundation, what is right becomes natural, no longer a struggle. You no longer try hard to be kind. You become kind because truth has softened your heart. You no longer force yourself to forgive. You can forgive because I have freed you from the burden of needing to win every argument. You no longer struggle to love. You love because I am filling your heart with a love not dependent on circumstances. True freedom also reveals itself in how you step into the future. No longer afraid of failing, losing, being rejected, or not being enough. You can make decisions without being haunted by the worst-case scenario. You can try new things without fearing you will break. You can open your heart without expecting to be hurt the way you once were. Not because you believe everything will go well, but because you know that no matter what happens, I will not let you stand alone. You walk not with worldly confidence, but with the assurance that I am upholding your life from within. True freedom is when your worth is no longer defined by the words of people. In the past, one compliment lifted you too high, and one criticism pushed you into darkness. But true freedom is when your heart no longer swings according to human opinions. You receive what builds you up, but you do not crumble under what harms you. You listen, but you are not led by the voices of the world. You ground your worth in me, the one who knows every cell of your being, and no one can take that from you. For years, my child, you have carried many roles upon your shoulders. The role of the strong one, the one who is always fine, the one who must not make mistakes, the one expected to meet the expectations of others. But I did not create you to live behind a mask. I know every fragment of your weakness, every wound, every longing, every unspoken dream. True freedom is when you live as the person I created you to be, neither exaggerating yourself, nor shrinking back, nor twisting your identity to fit the mold others place upon you. When you live truthfully like this, your soul grows lighter. You will discover that you no longer need to run to earn acceptance, no longer need to hide your tears to appear strong, no longer need to please everyone around you. You will understand that your worth does not come from what you do, but from the love I cover you with. And as you live in that truth, you will find yourself breathing more freely with every step. True freedom does not come from denying your limits. You have limits, and that is good. You cannot do everything, cannot be everywhere, cannot solve every situation your own way. But true freedom comes when you place those limits into my hands. When you stop trying to be the strongest person in the room and instead become the one who leans on me the most. When you dare to say, I cannot, not out of despair, but out of surrender. When you know how to stop, rest, and let me carry the parts you cannot. True freedom is not a destination, it is a way of living. It is the breath of someone who knows they are loved. It is the steady pace of someone who knows they are not alone. It is the inner light of someone who knows I will never change my mind about them. And when you live in this true freedom, your life will become lighter, deeper, and more meaningful than it has ever been. My child, as you step into the final part of this journey, I want you to know this is not an ending, but a doorway opening into a life shaped by spiritual maturity and by the steadfastness I have built into you through every season you've walked through. The path behind you was not a rough draft. It was the firm foundation upon which I will place the new things I have prepared for you. Now I want to lead you into the depth of my guidance, a place where you not only hear me, but walk in rhythm with me, where you not only believe me, but also partner with me in every decision, every word, every thought, every small reaction. Many know me only through emotional moments or miracles, but you, my child, I want you to know me through daily companionship, a kind of closeness that is not loud yet, sinks into your very bones and becomes the steady source of your soul's strength. True guidance does not always come through dramatic signs, thunderous voices, or radiant dreams. It often comes as an unexpected peace in the middle of chaos, as a quiet confidence when you have no answers, as a gentle awareness that I am near, even when you cannot feel anything tangible. It is a soft, yet unyielding guidance, leading you step by step without forcing, without pushing, but inviting and steady. From now on, my guidance will not only lead you away from what once held you captive, it will lead you into what you were chosen to do. The season of avoidance has ended. The season of hesitation has closed. This is the time for you to stand in the authority I have given you, not the authority of the world, but the strength of someone who belongs to an unshakable kingdom. You have spent years battling the darkness within, and I have walked with you through every step. Now I will teach you how to see the light, even when some corners of your life still hold shadows. That is the steadfastness I long to cultivate in you. To enter this season, you must learn one thing: do not wait to be perfect before you move. You will never feel qualified enough by human standards, and I am not asking you to be. I ask only for a listening heart and a willingness to move when I speak. I do not call the perfect, I call the surrendered. I do not choose the strongest, I choose those who depend on me. Remember that every season of your life has held meaning, and none of it has been wasted. Even the years that felt barren have become fertile soil for the wisdom you now carry. When I lead you, I do not lead you as a master leads a servant. I lead you as a father leads a beloved child. I do not see you as a tool. I see you as my inheritance. I do not drive you with fear. I draw you forward with trust. That is why I want you to learn to listen for my whispers more than for my thunder. Because there are things I will not speak through the mighty wind or the earthquake or the fire, but through the gentle whisper within your spirit. When you are quiet, you will notice it. And my child, my voice always brings clarity, even when it calls you beyond your comfort zone. My voice brings peace, even when it leads you into something difficult. My voice brings freedom, even when it asks you to release what you once clung to. My voice has never pushed you into panic, nor has it ever made you feel coerced. My voice is gentle, yet full of authority. It is never vague. It is clear in your spirit like morning light filtering through a doorway. My guidance does more than show you the path, it shapes who you become. I do not only teach you what to do, I teach you who to become. I am forming you through the very process of walking with me. Every act of obedience, even the smallest, strengthens your soul. Every time you choose trust over fear, your mind is renewed. Every decision you place in my hands expands your perspective, deepens your maturity, and fortifies your endurance. To learn how to walk under my guidance, you must know that I lead each person on a path uniquely their own. Do not look for someone else's footprints to follow. Their path is not meant for you. I assign to each person a distinct journey, a unique calling, a different rhythm, a different set of challenges, and a different measure of grace. When you glance at the journey of others and believe you must be like them, you lose the uniqueness I wove into you. You were not created to be a copy. You were created to reflect a facet of me that no one else can reflect. Do not worry if your journey is longer, slower, harder, or more unusual. Every slow step holds my intention. Every sharp turn carries purpose. Every delay is my preparation for what you cannot yet see. My guidance, my child, is not only for the big decisions, it is also for the smallest things. I care about how you choose your words, how you spend your time, how you respond to what is unexpected, and how you treat your own heart when it grows weak. I do not guide you only in the significant moments. I walk with you through every detail that seems insignificant. And it is in these small things that you will train your spiritual sensitivity so that when greater matters arise, you will recognize my ways with clarity. This new journey is not a journey of striving, but a journey of surrender. Let me lead you step by step. Let me open your eyes day by day. Let me show you that you are stronger than you think, more mature than you realize, and chosen for things greater than you have ever dared to dream. This is the beginning of companionship where you and I walk together, move together, work together, live together. My guidance is not far from you. It is already within your heart, waiting for you to notice and respond with trust. My child, at this stage, my guidance is no longer a series of disconnected instructions. It becomes a flow, a quiet yet steady communion that helps you recognize my presence in every moment. As you learn to live in this companionship, you will see that your life is no longer divided into spiritual hours and ordinary hours. You will begin to understand that every moment is spiritual, because every moment holds me within it. I guide you not only when you pray, worship, or listen to my word. I guide you when you work, when you speak, when you rest, when you cook, when you walk along the road, when you think about the future. I am there when you rejoice, and I am there when you are confused. There is no moment where I am distant. True companionship is when you become aware of this, not through intense emotion, but through a quiet inward assurance that you never walk alone. Many people believe that experiencing my guidance means witnessing supernatural signs, strange wonders, or moments far beyond the ordinary. But true maturity is not found in seeing the extraordinary. It is found in recognizing me in the ordinary. I delight to dwell in small things, just as I rested upon the tender heart of Samuel while he slept. My voice does not speak only when the mountains shake. It speaks when your heart is still, when you are calm, open, and ready. I want to teach you how to discern my guidance through three things: peace, clarity, and steadiness. These are subtle, yet powerful signs. The peace I give is not a pleasant feeling, but a deep steadiness, even when your surroundings are chaotic. You may tremble, yet your soul remains standing. You may be uncertain, yet your spirit knows you are in the right place. The clarity I give helps you see what is right, what you must release, what you should wait for, and what you should begin. The steadiness from me is what anchors you when your emotions want to pull you in another direction. Peace, clarity, and steadiness, these are the rhythms of spiritual guidance. From now on, you will see this more clearly. I speak not only through words, but through the movements of your heart. At times, I cause you to hold your tongue when you are tempted to respond in anger. At times, I make you pause for a few seconds before making a decision so that you avoid unnecessary harm. At times, I stir compassion in you when you see someone weak, an invitation for you to become an instrument of comfort. At times, I wake you in the night not to worry you, but to whisper something you missed during the day. True companionship also requires that you learn to walk with me in silence. There will be seasons when I do not speak much, not because I am far, but because I want you to trust what I have already spoken. Like the Israelites who followed the pillar of cloud and fire in the wilderness, there were moments when the cloud moved, but also moments when it remained still for days, even months. When I stand still, you must learn to stand still. When I move, you must learn to move without delay. Companionship is not only going when I call, but staying when I ask you to stay. My child, this is the hardest lesson for many, discerning between my voice and the voice of haste. The voice of haste says, hurry, or you will miss your chance. But my voice says, trust me, you will not miss anything I have set apart for you. Haste brings fear. My voice brings peace. Haste leads to panic. My voice leads to steadiness. Haste demands that you prove something. My voice tells you that you have nothing to prove to be loved. To step into deeper guidance, you must loosen your grip on the things you have held too tightly. I know this is difficult for you because you have spent many years holding on to control, to fear, to assumptions, to old plans, to memories that no longer serve you. I want you to lay them down, not because you will lose something, but because I have something newer and greater to give. No one can receive what is new while their hands are full of the old. My child, what I want to give you is far greater than what you think you have lost. On this journey, you will begin to see that my guidance is not about getting answers to every question, but about learning to trust me even when you have no answers at all. When you cannot see the path, you can still take the next step, for I am the lamp for your feet. Enough light for each step, not for the entire road at once. Your lack of full knowledge does not mean there is no plan. It simply means I want you to walk by faith hand in hand with me. Companionship with me does not mean you will always feel strong or inspired. There will be days when you are tired, days when your heart is heavy, days when you feel like doing nothing. Yet it is in those days that my guidance becomes clearer. When your strength runs out, you will sense my sustaining power more vividly. When your will grows weak, you will feel my will rising within you. When you are exhausted, you will understand more deeply that my presence never depends on your condition. My timing is not like your timing. You often want everything to happen fast, but I want everything to happen right. You see one day and call it an opportunity. I see your entire life and know what is truly a blessing. You want to step forward when you feel ready. I call you forward when I know the moment is ripe. I do not delay to disappoint you, but to ensure that when you receive what I give you, will be mature enough to carry it. What comes too soon becomes a burden. What comes at the right time becomes a blessing. My child, companionship with me also teaches you that when I close a door, it is not the end. At times I must close what you believe is good, so that there is room for what you could never have imagined. You cannot see the future as I see it. Therefore you must trust me more than you trust your own limited vision. Remember this, I have never removed anything from your life without intending to replace it with something better, deeper, and more enduring. In the end, this companionship leads you to a place where you no longer simply ask, Lord, what do you want me to do? Instead, you begin to ask, Lord, who do you want me to become in this process? For what I am building in you is not only a destination but a person. I do not only care about where you arrive, I care about who you become. I do not only guide your steps, I transform your heart so that it reflects my goodness, my patience, my humility, and my strength. My beloved child, as you enter the final stretch of this journey, I want you to know that everything I have spoken to you is not meant to produce a fleeting emotional moment, but to lay the foundation for a new life, a life of someone who knows they are loved, guided, healed, and sent. This is not a conclusion. It is a doorway into a future where transformation does not stop, where companionship becomes your daily rhythm, where your renewed mind becomes a stream of life for those you meet along the way. You will not return to who you used to be. Never. Not a single day will I lead you back to old shadows, old voices, or old wounds. You are stepping into a time where spiritual maturity will no longer appear in pieces but as natural fruit. You will be surprised by yourself, by how you respond, how you think, how you love, how you stand firm where you once crumbled easily. Not because you have become stronger, but because truth has rooted itself more deeply within you. As I renew your mind, I also renew the way you see life. You will find that challenges no longer threaten you as before. You will see my hand in situations that once seemed random. You will realize that moments which felt meaningless carry my subtle orchestration. And you will understand more deeply than ever that everything I allow is meant to draw you closer to me and make you steadier inside. The freedom you have received is not merely for your own enjoyment, it is meant to flow through you. True freedom always spreads. When you walk in peace, others will find calm. When you think in truth, others will find encouragement. When you live in companionship with me, those near you will feel clarity and gentleness. I do not transform you so you can stand alone. I transform you so you become a living witness of my goodness. Let me give you an image. You are like someone carrying a lamp through a dark valley. The light you carry does not come from you, but from me. Yet the very fact that you carry it changes the world around you. The places where your feet step will brighten. The people you encounter will feel its warmth. Doors long shut will begin to open. I am not asking you to blaze like a great flame. I am asking you to keep the lamp I have given you and walk in obedience. I will take care of the rest. As your mind is renewed, your capacity to embrace my will also expands. What once felt difficult will become natural. What once frightened you will become simple. What once made you hesitate will become something you can step into with quiet confidence. This is not because you have become better, but because my presence is saturating you more deeply, shaping your desires, aligning your loves, and guiding you away from what harms your soul. Do you remember the moments when you thought you were stuck? When you believed you were held back, delayed, forgotten? Yet I used those seemingly barren seasons to prepare you for this very moment. You did not know that in those quiet hidden steps I was building new inner strength within you, deeper endurance, wider patience, sharper spiritual sensitivity, and a softness of heart that can only be found through many seasons of trial. I have never wasted a single moment in your life. Everything has a purpose. Live as one who is being guided. Do not think you must navigate life alone anymore. Do not think you must arrange everything by yourself. Do not think what you see is all that is happening. From now on, remember, I go before you, I walk with you, and I cover you from behind. I open the way before you step. I guard you when you rest. I uphold you when you grow weak. I correct you when you drift. My guidance never stops even when you forget that I am guiding you. My child, what I am doing in your life is not merely healing what was broken. I am building what is entirely new. You will begin to see gentle beginnings, small green shoots in your heart, ideas birthed from my wisdom doors, opening in ways you could never have imagined. What once terrified you, you will now be able to face. What once made you avoidant, you will now confront. And what you once believed would be never, you will watch me turn into now. Child, I am giving you a new role, the keeper of your mind. Not merely one who guards against darkness, but one who tends the mind as a gardener tends my garden, cultivating what is beautiful, uprooting what destroys, watering it through meditation, and allowing my light to shine upon every thought. You will see that life is shaped not by grand events, but by the small thoughts you nurture each day. And when you live as the keeper of that garden, you will find peace taking root so deeply within you that nothing will be able to shake it. I never intended for you to live a life that merely survives. I have called you to live fully. I want you to know the meaning of joy without condition, peace that surpasses all understanding, and hope that never fades. I want you to sense my presence in every morning, every step you take, and every word you speak. I want you to walk into your days with the expectation that I am doing something new, not because you deserve it, but because it is my nature. I am the one who makes all things new. My beloved, as you enter your everyday life, I want you to carry one truth: I am with you. Not as a distant idea, not as a doctrine, but as a living reality. I am in every beat of your heart. I am in every breath you exhale. I am in every day you face. There is no distance between us. There is no wall I cannot break. There is no wound I cannot heal. There is no dream I cannot fulfill. There is no path I cannot open. This journey draws to a close, but a new life is unfolding. You are not returning the same person. You walk forward as one who has been touched, renewed, lifted, and placed under my guidance. From now on, live as someone who knows they belong to the light, who knows they are being led, who knows they have a Father who walks beside them. And in the days ahead, if your heart ever trembles, remember this: the moment you whisper, "Father, I will answer, for I have never been far from you. You have always been in my sight, in my hands, and in my heart." This is the gentle conclusion of the journey you have just walked, and the hopeful beginning of everything that is to come. Thank you for listening to today's message. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can continue receiving the living words together, building unshakable faith, and walking in the boundless love of God. Amen.